So let's talk about the Toronto condo market and why I strongly believe that the condo market is going to start seeing a bit of a decline in not just the number of sales, but also possibly the pricing. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the numbers of where we're coming from and where we're going. And most importantly, we'll also touch on at the end of the video future supply and why that is absolutely critical to what the future of condos looks like. If you're new to this channel, my name is Sid from Team Sir Real Estate. I help clients with buying, selling, leasing, investing, as well as everything to do with pre-construction condos. If this is your first time on the channel, please go ahead and subscribe for all things real estate. So let's get right into the condo supply. I want to show you guys the difference in condo from a year ago to now in both condo supply as well as condo sales. So condos a year ago, we're looking at April of 2023 because this is the last data we have from Treb was for April of 2024. So it makes sense to check exactly 1 year ago where we were at this time. So exactly a year ago, we were sitting at about 3,439 listings, and we had about 2,160 sales. Active listings were 3,944. So it's the spring market. People are expecting listings to be out on the market. This is when sellers feel confident that they can sell. And also buyers want to purchase at this time because, they want to move into property before summer begins. And spring is usually the busiest time in real estate traditionally. And if you look at April 2024 numbers, the number of new listings went up to 5,542, active listings at 7,015, and sales at just 2,013. So sales have been pretty much, sales went down. However, active listings and new listings spiked up over 58%. So what does this mean? It means we're seeing a flood of new listings and active listings on the market right now. There's an oversupply of condo listings in the city of Toronto, yet there's not enough demand. There's not a lot of buyers. When you have condo supply go up over 50% and new listings up close to 50% and sales down 10%, something's going on. So what are some of the reasons why we're seeing this? So reason number one is we have a new capital gains ruling. If you're not familiar with the capital gains ruling, effective June 25th, the government is essentially hiking up the capital gains tax on any capital gains you've made over $250,000. So the first $250,000 will be taxed at the regular 50%, and anything over that will be taxed at 66%. Now, that's only if you're doing it under a personal name. If you're a corporation, then you don't have that $250,000 exemption rule. You essentially pay 66% across the board on any capital gains. So that's making a lot of investors worry. I've personally had a few investors reach out wanting to list their condos for sale because they want to get out of it and sell before June 25th. So if you sell, and when I say sell, I mean you also close on the unit sales completed prior to June 25th, you can avoid the new tax ruling. But if you go a day over, then the new ruling applies. Reason number two is rents have actually been trending down for the past 6 months. Rents are actually down 7% over the last quarter. But they have had a year-over-year increase of 1.6%. However, we're seeing a flood of new inventory come into the market. Investors want to get out due to the cost of carrying a property, also because interest rates have gone up. So any condo owners, investors specifically, that had a renewal coming up over the past 6 months, they've seen a significant hike in their monthly mortgage payments and carrying costs, and the rents are just not enough to offset that cost. So supply from newly completed condos made a significant impact on the rental market, according to Urbanation. Over the past 4 quarters, a total of 23,095 new condos were registered. So here's what we know. So we know that the majority of buyers of pre-construction condos happen to be investors. So when you have close to 24,000 new condos come to market, majority of them are from investors. So that means majority of them are going to be put for rent. So when you have that kind of supply on the rental side, it makes the investor worry because now they're having a vacant unit, which forces them to A, either reduce rent, or B, sell the property because they can't eat the cost. Buildings registered in the past 4 quarters represented a total of 24% of all condos listed for rent in Q1 of 2024. So that's really interesting. Now, when you have new condo rental inventory, and again, like I said, when you have a new tower come up, let's just say there's 30 or 40 story tower, you're going to have at least 40, 50 rentals come out at the same time. And because investors don't want to leave the property vacant for too long, they're forced to reduce rent because they're competing with so many people. And what that does then is create a lot of supply in the rental market, number one, but also it drives down the market rents for that particular area, not just the building. See, when you have more choice and more supply and less demand, you'll see a natural downward pressure on pricing. Now, here's another interesting stat by Urbanation. Nearly 32% of new condo units are projected to be completed in 2023. This is from last year, so surpassing the previous record of 22,473 units completed in 2020. So not only are we seeing the rental side have an oversupply of inventory, but also on the resale side, we're seeing for condos that are going up for sale, we're seeing an excess supply. And because of that excess supply and a lack of demand, we're seeing condo sales flatten. After the record high of around 20,165 condo completions in 2023, a further record of 26,934 units are scheduled for occupancy in 2024 across the GTA. So not only did we have almost 25,000 new condos completed last year, we're going to have another 26, almost 27,000 new condos come to market this year. Okay, so these are units that are going to be ready for occupancy. That means A, the rental market is going to soften even further, and B, the condo inventory for sale is also going to increase quite significantly. And we're still in a very high interest rate environment. We're slated to see a rate cut possibly in the summer and maybe another one in the fall. But is the rate cut going to be enough to drive enough demand onto the condo market to offset that supply-demand gap? We don't know. That remains to be seen. Personally speaking, I believe we're not going to see that much of an impact. I feel the condo market's still going to be pretty stagnant, and we're still going to see a pretty high supply remain in the market, at least for 2024 and a good part of 2025. We'll also likely see more condos week by week come onto the market because investors want to get out of their properties because of this new capital gains ruling that's kicking in June 25th. So I'll be curious to see what happens in the next few weeks as investors put more supply into the market. So as far as 2024 and even a good part of 2025 go, we're likely going to see excess supply for condos, but not as much demand. So we may see prices either stagnate or possibly even go down slightly because of the supply. However, where I feel we're going to have some major issues is going to be around 2026, 2027, 2028 timeframe, because there's been a lot of projects over the past couple of years, starting in 2022, that have been shelved by developers because of the hike in interest rates and a huge slowdown in sales. So remember, builders can't build or start construction until they sell at least 70% of a building, because that's when they can go to their bank and secure construction financing. So until they do that, they can't start construction. And if you don't start construction or there's no sales happening, construction doesn't start, and that affects future inventory. So I do believe in the years of 2026, 2027, 2028, we're going to see a huge shortage of inventory in the condo space. And coupled with immigration going up over the next few years, we're going to see that balance offset, maybe possibly even go the other direction where there's excess demand but not enough supply in those future years. Here's a chart from Urbanation that talks about the 10-year average of new condominium apartment sales in the Q1 periods, right? So if you look at 2024, we're at a record low on a 10-year average. The last time we were this low was in Q1 of 2009. We had 1,461 sales this past 4 months, and the 10-year average is close to 5,000. And according to Urbanation, 31% of pre-construction projects in Q4 of 2023 had sold less than 30% of their units, more than double the share a year earlier, indicating very slow absorption levels for new launches. On average, projects in pre-construction during Q1 2024 were 50% pre-sold, down from a 61% average absorption level a year ago and 85% 2 years earlier, with pre-construction sales falling well below typical construction financing requirements of at least 70% absorption. Construction starts have experienced a sharp decline. So this is going to be the story for the next few years. We're going to see a huge shortage of supply. And if we don't see completions, we're going to unfortunately start seeing, the same 2021, early 2022 type activity in the years of 2026, 2027, 2028, where it's a frenzy of a market. We're also so far behind our goal for completing the units required in order to meet affordability And with the lack of construction starts and housing completions over the next few years, this problem's about to get worse. A total of 17,076 units across 56 projects have released marketing materials for an upcoming launch in the next couple of quarters, with a 70% share of units located in the 905. Since the market began slowing in 2022, Urbanation has counted 60 projects to date, totaling 21,505 units in the GTHA, that's the Greater Toronto Hamilton area, that were slated for launch and began releasing promotional material, but have put their plans on hold indefinitely. So, in a nutshell, we're going to see a pretty soft market when it comes to condos over the next, I would say, year to year and a half. However, starting 2026, when rates are lower, we start seeing more demand. However, the supply becomes bleak and condo completions stall. That's when we're going to see condos really start picking up steam again and start going up in prices. So if you're in the market for condos, I believe this is the greatest time as any to actually go out shopping, especially in Toronto. But if you have any questions on how this impacts you, if you're a buyer or a seller and you're looking to see whether or not this is a good time to buy or sell, feel free to go ahead and book a date and time with me. In the description, there's a link to my calendar, and I'd be happy to chat with you one-on-one, no obligation, of course. I want to thank you guys again for watching this video. If you found any value, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Until next time, take care.